Welcome back to I'll Pack My Bags. I'm your host, Erin, and I'm chatting with Karolina about sports tourism. There's no way we could talk about sports tourism without talking about the Olympics. Do you ever watch the Olympics?
Not too much. I think I have my favorite sports that I watch. So, I'll tune in for some of the swimming, some of the running, some, figure skating, but, not... I don't watch the full things, and I don't follow it.
Yeah, neither do I. I like the diving.
Oh, yeah.
Diving's really interesting to watch. But, yeah, the Olympics are a phenomenon for tourism. But surprisingly, the impact isn't always positive. And I found this really interesting because my assumption was that if you hold the Olympics, it's a great thing for your city. It's going to build a lot of infrastructure. You build hotels. It creates jobs. My assumption was it's strictly positive. So I actually found research that disputes this. I guess over the years, they've done studies that find that some cities actually find it negatively impacts their tourism. So, for example, the 2012 Summer Games in London were expected to result in mass tourism. So they spent 15 billion euros
Yikes.
to prepare for the games. But the tourism numbers were super, super disappointing. And they think that because they held the Olympic Games in the middle of high tourist season, the regular tourists stayed away because they were deterred by accommodation prices and disruptions caused by the games. So for example, saturated transport and just crowded areas in general. And that actually makes total sense because I was thinking about this. If I knew that the Olympics were happening somewhere, I probably wouldn't go there.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Unless I was going to actually
the Olympics.
Watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
And yet other locations do experience tourism benefits. The games that were held in Sydney in the year 2000 were super beneficial to Australia's tourism. Apparently it resulted in 16% growth in overall tourism across 4 years. So that's pretty impressive. But I don't know whether they get a return on the amount of money that's invested into it. So it's a lot of money. And so what I've found in reading data about it, it's pretty obvious that developed countries that don't have developed tourism benefit from it. So another case study that I read was Georgia. What's the main city? Atlanta. So when Atlanta held the Olympics in the 90s, they weren't really a popular spot for people to visit, but they were a developed enough state that they could support holding them financially. And then it really put Atlanta on the radar. So since then, Sydney, they've experienced a surge in tourism. So I guess the sweet spot is to be developed enough that you can actually manage the finances of holding the games, but not being already a tourist destination like London, because London doesn't really need to hold the Olympic Games to bring in tourism.
Yeah, I think many people would be afraid to go there during the Olympics because they would be competing to see all the normal attractions and just...
Yeah. And you're competing anyways in London.
Yeah.
It's packed. So as fun as it would be to unpack the unreliable rates of success in the Olympics positively benefiting their host city, the data is inconclusive, basically. So the cities that tend to benefit are the ones that are developed countries and don't have established tourism, whereas others, it causes the redirect of crucial funds away from people that need it. And this raises major ethical questions. So, for example, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, when they held the World Cup, they were, criticized heavily because they're putting all this money into supporting these games, and yet, people are living in slums. Karolina can't comment. She's too upset. It's upsetting, and it really points to how humans were just obsessed with putting on shows.
I know it's frustrating to think about that.
Yeah, I agree, and I think this is why I can't always get on board with the Olympics, because as much as I appreciate the fact that it has this sort of bringing people together around the world concept behind it, it's a little too it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
All right, so, okay. We have to dive into the fun facts because this is depressing, and I wanted to have some fun facts to bust out because there's a lot about the Olympics to say. So, okay, the Olympics date back to ancient Greece, and back then, athletes didn't worry about sponsorship, protection, or fashion because they competed naked, completely naked. Just imagine going to watch that.
I guess that's why there were like limited events, right? Because, I don't know.
And also, the games lasted 6 months in ancient Greece. That's a long time.
Literally half the year.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. Women have been allowed to compete in the Olympics since 1900. And like you were saying about like starting the Boston Marathon, it's like really wild to me to think that it's barely been 100 years since we've been considered human enough to compete in the Olympics.
Just to add to that, I think it was in 1990, the Boston Marathon Association went back and said like, okay, actually, because there was a couple women that had ran unsanctioned in the Boston because they didn't have bibs, because they weren't allowed to have bibs, but I think they said between 66 and 71 we do recognize that these women ran the race,
like officially recognized.
And they are a finisher,
right?
But that was like not that long ago again.
No, that's wild.
Imagine telling people like, oh yeah, I ran the race, but like
but it wasn't recognized. So I didn't really run the race. Like,
yeah.
Ugh.
It's like, ugh.
Makes me so angry. So during the 2012 London Games, the Olympic Village required 165,000 towels for a bit more than 2 weeks of activity. Like,
what does that mean? Like full-size towels? Like face towels? Like what does that mean? Like paper towels?
Oh no. I really want to learn about like the environmental concerns around the Olympics because that's what I was thinking. I was just like, that's a lot of water,
yeah,
and a lot of trees. Okay,
like is it because there was a bunch of water sports?
I guess. Well, no, I thought it was because people sweat so much.
Oh,
so maybe it was
the
small. Yes. Oh, sweatbands.
Not clear.
It's obvious like how amateur we are when it comes to like
sports.
Professional sports.
Sportsing.
Rashid is going to be very upset about this. When I told Rashid we were doing a sports episode, he was like, "And you didn't ask me?" So don't worry, Rashid, we'll do part 2 with you. Okay, from 1912 to 1948, artists participated in the Olympics. Painters, sculptors, architects, writers, and musicians competed for medals in their respective fields. And I think that this practice should be resurrected with an Olympic medal for podcasting.
Boom!
Because we're exercising our minds. I want to know who got to judge these artist things, though. Like, who got to judge those and give out the medals.
I know, that's pretty subjective.
Well,
I guess you win things for art all that, like...
Yeah, that's true. But would they, like, televise this?
But they wouldn't tell you if you came second. In, like, Artland, I don't think.
No.
They always tell you who the winner is.
So the following sports are, sadly, not part of the Olympics anymore. Tug of war. That would be so fun to watch on TV. Like, I would show up for that.
Okay.
Rope climbing. This is a bit vague, but I think it means literally like climbing a suspended rope.
I see that, because that was an event in like gym class.
Yeah. Hot air ballooning.
What?
That's not a sport.
Maybe you have to land at a very precise location. And it's like location-based hot air ballooning. Yeah. Like how high do you get, and then do you land proper?
Who can get the highest?
No, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Without like leaving
like,
the
but
atmosphere.
It's like a jump. like jumping in the like snowboarding. You know, you do a flip, but it's like how high do you get before you get down? No.
I figured it was just like how can you get to a place the fastest.
Oh, okay.
But I like who can get the highest.
And then back down. And then back. That's the challenge always.
Okay, tandem bicycle.
That's gone, yeah. I mean, they have normal
Gone.
bikes, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could do like tandem bicycle going really fast.
Probably dangerous.
Yeah. Swimming obstacle race.
I wonder what that means.
Like you're encountering obstacles as you're swimming. So maybe it's like Wipeout. Have you seen that show?
No. What?
Wipeout?
It's like MXC, most extreme elimination.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're going
Oh.
through like pools and stuff and there's obstacles. So that's what I'm imagining that was.
Okay.
Dueling pistol.
So you have two guns.
Yeah. Okay, but I googled this. The guns have to be like of similar make.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not considered a fair duel.
Do you actually have to... and it was shooting people?
Yeah. That's kind of scary.
To kill each other?
I'm not sure.
I know, because then you can't compete next 4 years, right? Like, you're out. Like, how do you get better at that?
It's all or nothing.
Like, yeah. Like, you have one shot.
So those are all my Olympics facts.
Wait, I have one more sport that was banned.
What?
Oh.
Ski ballet?
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
You've never heard of ski ballet?
What do you do?
I have a video I can show you later. It's literally going down a hill and like
Doing footwork?
doing fancy footwork while you're going down a hill with skis.
That's kind of nice.
I kind of dig that.
It was very big in the 80s.
I would watch that. Have you ever heard of speed climbing, though?
Like, you have to climb very fast.
Oh, yeah, but you should... Okay, we'll watch a video after.
I did watch something. There was, like, a competition, and it was, like, oh, my God, climbing set to music.
Oh, God.
But, like, it was a competition.
Uh-huh.
So I think it was only because the sponsor was, like, a music company. So they had really loud music to hype up the audience, and then they would have different, like, bouldering problems, and they would have to solve them really. Like, two people would try to go
How
up.
fast were they going?
They were, well, I mean, fast, but, like, the problems. I mean, I don't know. As fast as climbers go, it's not like speed. It's like, it's still hard. They still got to figure it out.
I'm going to show you a video that's going to blow your mind because
Oh, okay.
I've seen videos of people doing this. Like,
But do they get to see it before?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's literally like, it's not about the problem. It's literally about speed.
Oh,
like,
okay,
how
okay,
fast
okay.
can you get up this wall?
Okay.
So, to close that, tell us a story or an anecdote.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I'm going to tell you of my first half marathon story.
Okay.
So I went to Copenhagen, and having not ever done a half marathon before, you know, the night before, of course, you get very nervous. You're in a new place. They don't always speak English. Like, they speak English, but, like, it's not always English. And so, of course, my fears the night before were like, what if I don't know what water is? Like, in English? Like, what if it never says water? Like, what if I don't know where to turn for water or washroom or, like, all of these things? So I'm Googling, like, how do you say water in Danish?
How do you say it?
It's vand. Vand? Vand? V-A-N-D. So if it said vand, it's water.
Okay.
Because my fear was like, oh my God, what if you take some weird drink that is not water, and then all of a sudden your race is done because you're, you
Tripping
know,
on mushrooms.
or like whatever. You don't know what they have. Because
no.
each race has like, here we give out maple syrup at our races.
Do we?
Yes, it's called Endurance Tap, and it's sometimes a sponsor, and it's maple syrup with a bit of salt. But like, if you're from somewhere else, imagine getting that. That's confusing. So I was like, okay, what am I going to get over there? Anyway, paranoia. But luckily the race started, and it, like, seemingly everything was fine. Water was labeled clearly. I was very excited. I was like, yes, water is water. I am able to consume this. Great. And then all of a sudden, it started to hail. And they were like pellets. And they were painful. And I was in a t-shirt. Or like a tank. And I was like, oh my God. This sucks. So not only is like the running part getting hard, but now the rain is coming down. And it's funny because I passed by the McKellar Running Club cheer station and they had a little tent and they still were trying to hand out beer. But like, because you get a beer like a little, you know, and people were not taking the beer as it was like, you know, the rain started coming down so hard that it, like the puddles were forming. And then like, as I kept going, I probably only had maybe 5K left. So it wasn't like terrible, but the water got deeper. And like at certain points you cross like a timing mat and the timing mats were floating away. I'm like, oh no, does this even count? Like, are they going to know I finished this? This is my first half marathon. Like, it's like proof where it didn't happen. And I remember just like the middle of the city was totally flooded and I saw the finish line, but I had to, it was so deep. Like it almost, like it went past my ankles. I had to, like, what did I do? I had to go alongside the barricades to try to like hustle in to like get to the finish line. But at the finish line, it was like totally anticlimactic because it floated away. And like people were being pulled off the course and I was like, oh no, do I not get a medal for this? Luckily there was like some volunteers still left and they gave me a medal.
Yeah.
But I guess what had happened is people got struck by lightning. So 3 people. 2 people had to be hospitalized is what I learned after. But it was like the whole finishing area was just like lightning central zone. So they were like, no, you do not get your banana and like beverage after. Please leave. Because it was just like a flooded, lightning filled zone. So I got my medal and I had to leave. Anyway, so it was a very dramatic first half marathon.
And then after that, you were like, yeah, I want to keep doing this.
Well, I was like, well, that was pretty intense. And my floating mat, you know, like timing mats floated away. So like maybe the next one will be a bit more calm.
Was it?
Not really. But no, it wasn't as intense. But I think I've just had tumultuous weather situations.
Well, Karolina, thank you so much for coming onto the pod and sharing your experiences as a runner who travels, or the other way around, or both.
I think both, right?
As a traveler who runs, both.
Both, yeah.
Thank you, Katie, for being our incredible producer. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at alpacamyBagsPod, or go to our website, which is alpacamybags.ca. If you like what you're hearing, let us know by reviewing the podcast, and remember to subscribe while you're at it. Every subscription tells us that you love what you're hearing, and it helps us to boost our show in the podcast charts. So please don't be shy. Okay, I hope you get to alpaca your bags soon.